Officers that make the stop are making the stop, right? They're doing the job. All right, and that data goes in. But one point that this gentleman brought up here, and what's your name, sir?
Sergeant Jerry Schrecker.
Right. So Sergeant Schrecker basically said is a very good point. And that point is this. When they do focus operations, normally that's done based on the high numbers of crime data that's been reported. And those complaints is reported by whom? By the citizens. Right. So when those complaints is coming from the citizens from that particular sector, that there are issues there. And a focused operation is planned out. And if the focused operation is basis to be done in a predominantly white community, a predominantly black community, a neighborhood, a Latino, so on, that's where the operation is, and the people that are stopped or arrested is basically come from that particular area, or people that's going in from another area, going into the area and going out that are considered to be suspicious activity. All right? So I just want to touch on that because I think during the forum at the library, the chief touched on it somewhat. All right? And then go into detail, but those focused operations. I've been working in the community, before with the Department of Justice, and the community basically was questioning why the police wasn't doing sting operations in their community. This was a predominantly black community. Or reverse stings. Right? Because they were concerned about the crime activity and the traffic activity that's going in the community. And comes out when they did, they found out the majority of the people they arrested that was coming in the community didn't live miles away from the community. Right. So I want to move on because I want to get to what many of you, or some of you have been referring to for some time, legal basis.
I got a question before you move on.
Yes.
And it falls down to non-police are not trained on a legal basis, which guides enforcement action. That last part.
Right, that's correct.
All right, we're taking steps, coming in with this training, et cetera, which is good, okay? How do we get to that point? Non-police are not trained in a legal basis. When, okay, we run some different type of citizens academy. The city runs a citizens like type of academy, education. Well, see, you got a large community. I mean, how do you get to that point?
Well,
you depend on media to get to that point. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I'm not in the newspaper business or the TV business, but I have been told if it bleeds, it leads. So my question is, because I'm looking at you and what you do every day as a resident expert, how do we get to that point? Non-police. How do we get to the point where this gentleman in the back, where a guy's got 16 trespassing warrants out and he has to retire because the criminal justice system is so overloaded, and, when are we going to start as a community looking at systemic portions of what is causing what is going on in the community? Instead of just pointing fingers, let's look at what's responsible, what's accountable, and what we can do together, black, white, pink, or yellow, to get to the root of the problem. That's what I would like to know. As a chief, I'm asking that question.
Okay. First of all, one is we try to get, you're already doing some things already. You already talked about some things that you're doing.
But I feel from the leadership perspective, we're not doing enough. I really would like to know. I'd like to know because these men and women that are in this room, these citizens that are in this room, whether they're officers or not, I think it's very important, and we're depending on it.
But first off, Chief, one thing that many people in the community they don't understand what legal basis is. All right, and we'll touch on it in just a moment. And tomorrow night, we hope there's more community people there so we can educate them on what legal basis is, reasonable suspicion, and probable cause. The second is, let's face the reality that whatever you do, as much as you do, may not never be enough. All right, that's the reality of it. But I did the effort and get the community involved in those efforts to keep people, and I think you and I talked before, even those that are complainants, get them involved. And if they don't want to get involved, then they may have other agendas. So the point is this, you have to continue to communicate, work with the community. Same thing with the officers, which many of them are doing. Right? The thing about it, when officers do good, they don't get the recognition that they should, maybe from the community. But when something goes wrong, then everybody's out there complaining whether or not they know the truth or not. See, so the question is, is continue. I can't give you a right answer, except for be committed to your interest in the community, all communities, and get all community members involved when you, whether or not you have an advisory committee, whether or not you have I don't know if you have a citizen review committee or not, advisory group, whether or not you have a advisory group for different racial ethnic groups that, in the community that can basically share with you information that's going on or provide information going on in their community and how they can work with you to address those issues. Those are just, some of the things, but the key is that both community and law enforcement must, one, like you said, communicate, and two, work together. Don't expect that you go to get that everything you do is going to be the right thing because somebody's going to find something wrong with whatever you do. All right? You can do what you can with working, get input from your officers, they're involved in the process, input from the community, and then proceed from there. The issue around reasonable suspicion, and I think let's get back to this definition. I think the gentleman talked about this. Trained police officers, as you see in that particular definition there, as relates to reasonable suspicion. A police officer has the right to temporarily detain someone if there are specific facts that would lead a trained police officer to believe a crime has or is about to occur. Specific facts and/or pieces of reliable information are essential building blocks to probable cause. I think most officers would probably agree with that. In general, stop and frisk require only a reasonable suspicion. Now, how many do you think community people know this? See, they don't. They don't. Some do, some don't. All right. Yes, sir, in the back.
Clearly they don't.
Yes.
Because, as the gentleman made a statement about searches and high percentile searches and how we should have hits, I think it would be better, sir, to focus on how many searches were deemed illegal or unconstitutional by courts. Just because you search a vehicle does not mean it was unconstitutional or that you should find something all the time. I believe that kind of inflammatory language put out to the public is what fuels and causes a lot of these complaints.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, you have the mic.
I appreciate everything that you guys do, but I'm not a nobody. I was in law enforcement long enough to have 2 degrees in criminal justice, I have an advanced law enforcement certificate, and I served as a special federal marshal working with DEA and the Metro Police Department, busting dirty cops. I'm not someone that don't know anything. I'm raising a concern because of these numbers. You're supposed to turn these numbers in so a regular citizen can look at it and say, hey, there's something wrong here. We didn't come to the city manager pointing fingers. Mr. Iron knows we came to ask questions. Am I right? That's all we did was ask the questions. Nobody came to say that you guys are dirty or anything. But we have a legitimate right to ask a question. And the explanation didn't add up that we were initially told, which led us to this point. But no one was trying to put anybody down. I respect what you do a whole lot. Once a cop, always a cop. But I'm telling you, the numbers just don't add up.
But that's not the statement you made, was that we should have gotten a hit. That does not mean that we should have gotten a hit because we had a high number of searches. It just means that the searches should have been legal.
Well, I'm just saying to you, I do believe that there are some illegal searches happening. But I don't believe the person doing the problem is even in this room. But I believe that you have about 10 cops out there that are not doing the right thing and making everybody else look bad. And I stopped and looked at some things go down on the streets myself.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, this is what, because what we don't want to get into at this point, this is not this is not a venue.
He just made an allegation that there's about 10 cops.
Yes, right.
I'm
I'm
going to
saying,
hold us to this standard.
Yes.
I want to hold him to the same standard.
yes.
How can you make that allegation?
Yeah,